Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cohen II, and with me, as always, is
Sesame, Kamran, and Cardo.
It's an interesting name.
I agree.
Yes. So, how's life?
Life is good. Life is full of beauty and splendor, and
Sometimes life is full of Splenda, like if you put it on the Life cereal.
yeah, and grass and green grass and flowers and trees, and the flowers are blooming, and the plants are blooming, and the crops are blooming. I'm not sure if that's the right word.
Yes.
And and pollen's really heavy, so that's helping out with my allergies really awesomely.
No, mine too. It's great.
Yeah.
I love being able to breathe.
Yeah, or not.
Yeah.
Be able to, yeah, it's cool. Other than that, I could make some comment about the downfall of civilization, but yeah, I don't feel like it. And
Yeah.
nah.
It's just like dominoes.
Yep.
Stack them up and they're going to fall.
Yep. That's why I like to retreat.
And sometimes you order pizza from them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Not anymore because my Domino's sucks. But
Oh, really?
yeah, I don't know. They like their food is not good anymore. It's like, you know, I know. I'm already on the tangent here, but that's how my brain works or dysfunctions rather. I have a theory about the whole Domino's thing. So you remember when Domino's was starting to come back, because they kind of retreated for a while, then they sort of came back, and they had this whole advertising campaign, right, about how everyone complained about their pizza, and they're like, we're taking your complaint seriously, and that's why we have a whole new, recipe and stuff. So the thing is, I never thought Domino's tasted bad in the past. I always thought it tasted great. And my dad was like, same thing too. He's like, yeah, I never understood these commercials about like people were saying the pizza tasted like cardboard and all this stuff. So what my theory is, granted, it's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but just hold on a sec. So my theory is that nobody was really complaining about Domino's not being good, except for like maybe just like a few people just didn't like it. But like the vast majority of people were fine with it. So what they were doing is that they were doing a form of brainwashing where they were convincing people that they thought they didn't like Domino's pizza, and they're like, oh, don't worry, we got this brand new recipe. But what they were really doing was just using cheaper ingredients, but they were trying to convince people that this is the new great recipe because they wanted to save money.
So it's the new Coke type thing.
Yeah, it's my theory, at least. It's a working theory, because I don't like the new Domino's recipe that's supposedly supposed to be the grand, better recipe.
I like it better.
Well, I don't know. I just
I think it tastes more like Marco's, which is my favorite pizza, and I live like 3 blocks from a Domino's, so
oh, well, that's the thing, though. I mean, why have a pizza taste like another pizza? I mean, if it's gonna, I'd get Marco's then if it's,
yeah. But
if I
I
want
think they have
Marco's,
their own
but
distinct tastes, but it tastes more like
yeah,
Marco's, is what I'm saying.
I mean,
But yeah,
Marco's is the shit. I mean,
hmm
Marco's is grand. Like I feel sorry if people don't know, Marco's is a pizza chain that's kind of near
oh,
us.
it's national now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of the largest growing pizza chains in the country.
It's amazing
Yes,
pizza. It's great. Anyway.
they're actually international too. They're
Oh, they are now? Okay.
yeah.
Well, their headquarters are here actually in
hmm
Toledo.
Yeah.
Like really like just down like a mile from where I live, like
Yes.
the little international headquarters
hmm
right there, that building. Yep. Yep. I pass it all the time. Uh,
So speaking of things that are in the United States,
mhm.
Jersey City. Um,
Yeah, they might have a Marcos there. Who knows?
yeah, they probably do. Um, anyways, Miss Marvel lives there.
yeah.
Um, so episode 2 premiered on June 15th, 2022. Written by Kate Gritman, directed by Mira Menon, entitled Crushed. Initial thoughts here, Sesame.
Um, I liked it. I wasn't overwhelmed. I think the first episode was not overwhelmed, but hopefully, they'll pick up the pace a bit. But I did like this episode more than the first one because they they kind of talked a little bit more about like her heritage and like not just like her family, but like also her culture because they talked about the partition between India and Pakistan where people are pretty much just forced into the new countries and stuff like that. And we learned a little bit, about the history of that family and they show some of the politics that go on in the mosque community, which again I can attest to is a fact. It wasn't
Yeah.
the writers weren't being prejudiced. Like this is a problem in a
Yeah.
lot of American
Hmm.
mosques where the women's
Well,
section is always
it's the
not always,
problem
but
in a lot of things.
it is like the women's section is often neglected, and it's like you got to walk through like a side door, and so that kind of brought me home a little bit because I remember you know at the mosque I used to attend, some of the women were actually running for the mosque board for that very same reason because they're like, look, like our section of the mosque is like not good,
Yeah.
so it's a problem that happens
It's not separate but equal. It's just
it's
separate.
it's yeah, and
Yeah.
but but one of the mosques I went to was actually interesting because the men and women prayed side by side, and they just had like a little partition, not no pun intended. Um, Whereas in a lot of mosques, the women pray behind the men because it's like whole
Yeah.
men are in charge and kind of that whole mentality. But at least in that mosque, it was a little bit more kind of equal-ish, which not completely, but sort
Yeah.
of going in that way. Anyway, I'm just saying I like the fact that are they're like they're given like a sort of honest but sort of compassionate look
hmm
at like Muslim or immigrant families or children of immigrants, like how they live and how the
Yeah.
different struggles that they have. So I like that. Well, it's not just like ooh superpowers, type of thing.
Well, I mean, it's good to it's a good coming of age story too.
Yeah.
I liked this episode better than the first, but I liked the first a lot, and I think this is I say this every time, but this is beginning to be my favorite show. So
Mm.
of the MCU so far. So
I know. Yeah. I always say that too for most shows. I'm like, oh yeah, WandaVision's best. Oh well, Falcon. Well, actually, Falcon I didn't like as much anyway. But then it was like Loki, and then after Loki, whatever came after that, or Hawkeye or whatever, like
because I like the show. It's kind of like I don't know. It's got a teen soap opera sort of thing going on with it too. It's kind of like
yeah, it's kind of like,
Degrassi Junior High meets Marvel or something.
exactly.
It's yeah. which is good.
Maybe that's why I don't relate to it as much, because it's kind of geared towards that audience. I mean, you can still relate to,
Well,
humans.
that's the thing, though. It's
like
like I think we can all relate to being that age. So it's
yeah, we all were at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into the breakdown of this episode here, if that's okay with you.
No, it's not okay.
So we start out this episode with like a montage, because you got to have a montage,
Yeah.
Shows how she's dealing with her powers, that she's finding out what they do and all that shit.
Yep.
Like you do, because I mean, anytime when you're that age and you get superpowers, you got to find out what happens with them. I mean, I had montages in my life. I don't know about you. Back when I got my superpowers.
Yeah, when you get powers, you have to test your powers out and have a whole scene going on where you're learning, how to use them, more effectively and all that. I mean, just the other day, I was testing my own powers of how to touch a tree.
Okay.
And I could touch a tree this way, or I could touch it that way, or I could touch it high, touch it low.
What kind of music was playing in the montage?
Bon Jovi.
Oh, nice.
Living on a Prayer. That
of
was
course.
A good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If it was raining, maybe it would be Slippery When Wet or something. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That whole album.
They mention that in the shows.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so she's dealing with her new powers, and she says that they're kind of like an idea that came to life, that's coming to life, and she names them hard light because they're projecting light that temporarily crystallizes, which is a lot different than her powers in the comic book and stuff. But that's okay.
Okay.
We don't need them to be the same.
Yeah.
So we basically got our obligatory, stupid montage.
It wasn't that stupid.
No, it isn't. But I'm just saying we always got to have them. Ever since Spider-Man, at least, like back Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, it kind of reminds me of that, where he's trying to get powers and everything. So, what happens next here?
After the powers, scene, a few things go on. Nakia wants to run for the mosque board, because their section of the mosque is just like falling apart. There's like mold underneath the carpets, and
I forgot something about the montage though, really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. When they're talking, Bruno realizes that the power's coming from within her, not from the bangle bracelet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that probably is just something that, like the Tarragon Mist in the comics, activated her inhuman abilities, probably.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So
if she's an inhuman or whatever her abilities are, because she could be Kree or something, too. So
yeah, so that was interesting. So they might be able to kind of tease that idea that at least somewhat, at least it might be somewhat like the comics where she's like an inhuman or something like it, or. So that was nice. They probably threw that in there because like, oh well, we already changed up one thing. Let's maybe not change the whole character completely, type of thing. Yeah, so Nakia, she's Kamala actually said that maybe she should run for the mosque board because they're having like a new election to make it better for the women's section of the mosque. And she was kind of joking, but then she's like, well, maybe I will run or whatever. So so there's like that plot going on right now where she's kind of going into like election mode, and she wants Kamala to be her campaign manager. You got Bruno.
Before that, though, when they do leave the mosque, Nakia's shoes were stolen by somebody.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
she had like really, really cool sneakers that she put in there, and they were stolen.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that's the other thing about mosques is there's a lot of trust involved because you just take your shoes off and just put them in the thing. Just hope that you get your shoes back.
Yeah.
But I never had a problem. I never got mine. But then, then again, I just wore regular tennis shoes. But
Like I always for some odd reason, like when I was a kid, I always hated like when you went to a bowling alley and you had to like give them your shoes and they put them in a spot where then they'd give you their bowling shoes.
It's like,
it was always weird to me.
Yeah. But they do that, or the reason why they do that is it's actually because of a lot of Islamic stuff actually originates from the Bible, which is I know a lot of people think Islam is like this otherly exotic religion, but it's actually really really close to like at least the Old Testament, the Bible, where God tells Moses to take off his sandals because he's in a sacred spot. So that's actually where that concept actually comes from, directly from. So it's not like a new thing that like Muhammad invented. It actually goes way back to that concept. So like that's why they take your shoes off and put them away and stuff like that.
It's been a thing too in a lot of cultures in general. Just like when you enter somebody's house or other things, you do that because out of respect.
Yeah, exactly. So she's running. She gets her shoes stolen. They're like, oh, the mosque shoe thief strikes again. Like some girl walks by or whatever. So it makes you wonder, is she the shoe thief? Because she just showed up right after and said that. Is she the one stealing shoes? Who knows? We find out later on though. And so we got that. Bruno, on the other hand, gets called in by the cool hip guidance counselor guy, whatever, who like wants to be their friend, type of thing. And he informs him that he has like a all expenses paid semester abroad and at Caltech in California. It's like some really special, because he's like a scientific genius and inventor and stuff like that. So he's kind of bummed out because he doesn't want to leave, Kamala, because he's got this crush on her and stuff, but he also wants to help her, figure out her powers, but also because he's obviously in love with her. And and it's kind of interesting too, because so far we haven't really even met Bruno's family, but it's been implied that like he doesn't really have much of a family, or they just don't spend any time with each other because he's always alone when he's at home. But like whenever he's with Kamala's family, and they seem to kind of almost treat him like a son, because like she's like, my mom was asking if you're going to Eid, the holiday. It's like, it's kind of odd usually, if someone's mom is asking someone else's, if they're, someone else's kid who's not even of their religion, if they're going to their holiday. You know what I mean? Like it's not often, that you have that kind of like, sort of like,
unless you're part of the family, basically,
Yeah. So he's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And then and he's kind of jealous though, because we meet this new guy named Kamran, who's like a new student, I guess, and he's like, like cool and like handsome and muscles, that whole thing,
Yeah, and, we did actually. We also started out the episode too with I forgot about this with Kamala being like all like empowered by the fact that she has these powers, and she's correcting people on how to say her name and all this other stuff as she's going into the school. And we also had a spot with what's her name? Is it Zoe or something? That the other girl.
Zoe's the one, that she saves.
Yeah. Zoe's like basically milking in the celebrity of it all from being the person that was saved, and she ends up naming this new person Nightlight.
Nightlight, yeah.
Yeah.
So. And kind of like how they call it, was it Spider-Man, where they call him Monkey?
Night Monkey and
Far From Home. Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's Night Monkey. They're like, go get him, Night Monkey. Yeah, I love that too, how she's trying to be popular by being saved by a superhero. That's like so weird.
Yeah, she's kind of reminds me of, like, speaking of Spider-Man, like Flash Thompson from that or whatever,
Yeah, like, oh yeah, exactly. Like, I'm Spider-Man's best friend or whatever. Yeah. Like, it's like, no, you're not, dude. Like,
yeah.
So we got those kind of B and C plots kind of swirling around. We find out that Kamala's mom, a little bit more about her history, because during the partition, I mean, if you read up about this is really just a tragic story in history. I mean, people literally were just forced to just march to a new country, essentially, just based on their religion. So if you were a Muslim in India, you had to move to Pakistan. If you were Hindu in New Pakistan, you had to move to India. Not everyone did. Some people stayed either because they felt like it or just couldn't make it, in time. But then they were persecuted then because now they were a minority in the new country. And God forbid you be a minority, because apparently the world's just not ready to like have equality, I guess. I don't know. And then
I mean, it's like a bag of M&Ms, all the colors together. What you're supposed to do, you're not supposed to separate the greens from the browns and the different things like that. I'm just saying that's basically what we're doing here, but with people. And making it seem like it's cool.
I mean, they would literally marching, and then like people would actually get into fights with each other. Like as like one group is marching one direction, the other's marching the other direction, and they would start rioting against each other because they start blaming each other for what happened. Like, you made this happen, now I gotta march all the way out to. Like, no, you made it happen, and it's like you guys are fighting each other, but you clearly don't like what's happening. So it's like maybe instead of fighting each other, you fight the people who caused you to have to do this.
People don't realize something like this happened like not that long ago. It was 1947. I mean,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
In the scheme of things, that's less than 100 years ago. So So
I mean, yeah, it was just 1 year after World War II ended, and so Kamala's mom, Muneeba, she left the table because she doesn't like to talk about this story, obviously, and but we find out though that her mom, which is named Sana, she got lost when they were going to take the train to Karachi, Pakistan, and because she originally came from Bangladesh, which was also carved out as its own country, third country. It's the whole thing's just a mess. But like anyway, so and she got lost, and there was like only one train left, and she didn't know where it was, but then she followed a trail of stars, and then she was like just sort of magically transported back to her dad, and they asked, well, what happened to her, her mom, and then Yusuf, which is Kamala's dad, said, well, no one knows, she disappeared like a lot of people did, and then Muneeba looked like very suspicious, like she didn't want anyone to know.
She almost is blaming her, and plus it's like obviously the Bengal is from her somehow. It's connected to her. Her great grandmother, because her great grandmother, it's a Aisha.
Yes, Aisha.
Aisha, yeah.
Because in the first episode, we were kind of led on to believe that it was Kamala's grandmother, because she would say, "Oh, my mother was a daydreamer and fantasy land." So we thought, oh, maybe she, but no, it actually turns out that it was probably
the great grandmother,
Muneeba's grandmother, or Kamala's great, Aisha, and but she doesn't want to talk about it. She shuts Kamala down. I'm getting a little really irritated with Muneeba, to be honest. It's like any it's like Kamala can't do or say anything right without getting some lecture from her mom. It's like,
but I think I understand it. I mean, she's had a hard life, I think, and I think that there was something there was some kind of pain in the family that maybe she knows about, but she just doesn't want to impart on her children, or at least not on Kamala.
Yeah, exactly. So we have that kind of story going on. We've got Kamran offers the teacher driving lessons because she failed the test in the first episode.
During that scene though, where we're finding out about this history and stuff, Kamala triggers her bangle starts to glow.
Oh yeah.
And she ends up seeing these strange visions of a mysterious woman who I assumed was her great grandmother, but we'll find out later. I mean, it still could be, but it's somebody else too. So
we don't know.
Yeah.
It's some woman who's calling to her.
Yeah.
And well, that's the thing, because so we we only know of one bangle so far. Maybe there was a
Yeah,
set, and
yeah.
maybe if you have two, you get the full set of powers or whatever.
Hmm.
So there's someone calling to. It could just be a classic thing of like the villain wants that bangle for themselves so they can have
Yeah,
the ultimate. Whatever, we don't know yet. But like, there is a woman, and plus too, before in the first episode when she put it on, she like went through like the sort of like upside down thing at the Avenger Con,
yeah.
where like, and then like she saw all these weird like glowing eyes, like people like just sort of
See, I don't know where
like,
I saw it, but online somebody was theorizing that that was her seeing the partition.
oh, okay,
That it
interesting.
might have been her, like, somehow living through that, like seeing it somehow. I mean, even though the people's eyes glowed and stuff, so it could be like a alternate reality, or it could be just a vision of the partition because it's connected to the woman we see with train noises that we hear too. So
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a train
yeah,
noise. Yeah. So so yeah, that's all we got so far. I mean, Kamran, he's like the cool guy in town. He's British, so he's got a British accent. So I was like, ooh, British guy. And
yeah,
like
and
he's got
she
like a really cool car and
yeah, and she. So did she get the driving lessons before or after Zoe's party?
um I think she um no, it was after because
Yeah,
he
because
goes, oh,
yeah,
I
she
have a
basically
car.
decided to go to Zoe's party because Cameron was invited to it too, and her mom let her go because she knows Zoe's parents. That's my theory as to why she said yes to that.
Yeah,
Because we
because
had a we
she
had a mention in the previous episode that they used to carpool together to school.
yeah, before Zoe became like cool
Yeah.
or whatever,
So my feeling on that issue is that the reason she wasn't cool with Avengers Con, but she was cool with this, was because it was at the house of somebody that she knows the parents of.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah.
probably it.
So at the party, she's somebody. She accidentally drinks alcohol because somebody freaking is not Biza is a dick.
Yeah, getting the Muslim to drink alcohol is
It's
stupid
so
and
fucking racist, or not
it
racist, but
it's
like
terrible.
prejudiced or whatever. Yeah,
It is. It's terrible.
I've had people do that to me because I don't drink alcohol and try to get me to before too, like put it
Yeah,
in
people are
food and
so
shit.
weird
Yeah,
about that shit. It's
yeah.
like
It's like
like
the
you
only
have
it's the only drug you don't you have to explain why you don't do.
yeah, I actually saw a post recently about that and I
Me
went to
too.
the comments and like
Yeah,
half the people are just like bashing this woman like, "Oh, just be an adult and just say no and oh, you don't have to write about this. Oh, I have anxiety too, but I don't let it dictate it my whole life." And it's just like but yet you're writing on someone else's Facebook
and
comments
and in
or
my opinion, anytime you're criticizing somebody for what they're writing on Facebook, it's like, is this the first time you've been on Facebook?
yeah.
Um,
But you're also using your time to then
exactly, because
criticize
what you're
someone.
doing is
So
exactly the same thing. So
exactly. So it's like, what are you doing with your time then? You're on
yeah,
Facebook right now and doing nothing. So
yeah,
yeah, but anyway, it's yeah, especially too for a religious reason when you try to force someone,
yeah.
trick them into like eating pork or drinking alcohol. It is a form of
It's
it's like a mini hate crime.
yeah,
I
and I
mean,
mean
not like a
it's not
serious,
like
but it,
it might not be something you believe in, but it's like, oh, you expect everybody else to follow your beliefs, but you know
it's yeah the food
that's
wars and yeah the
another
food wars
story
and culture.
altogether.
Yeah, but I could do a whole episode on like the food wars of culture and
Yeah,
like people like try to force each other to eat their foods and like to
yeah,
trick them. It's like this whole like weird like domination like ha ha ha. Like they like in England they used to actually like if they could get their hands on a Jewish person they would actually try to force them to eat pork. Like that was their way of
yeah.
like humiliating.
And
And it's like,
it's
like
funny too that it's okay for somebody to say like, oh, I can't eat gluten because I'm allergic, or I can't eat whatever because I'm allergic to it. I can't have eggs or I'll blow up like a balloon or
right,
whatever, and nobody questions that. But I can't eat that because of religious reasons. Then all of a sudden it's a weird thing.
yeah.
It's just strange.
It's
Um,
like what it's just like yeah, people just being busybodies.
yeah, but anyways, I guess there was a scene in the comics that was almost identical to that with an orange drink where somebody spiked it with some alcohol and gave it to her and made her drink it without her knowing. Anyways, so back to that though. Then Cameron's up on top of the garage and he jumps into I think the garage, whatever, some kind of roof. He jumps into the swimming pool, all like the dude in Almost Famous and stuff.
I was just gonna say that, Almost Famous, yeah. He Almost Famous, the dude,
Yeah.
But he didn't say I'm on drugs or anything.
No.
But
and he did like a perfect dive too, so it just makes you wonder, like, does this guy have powers too? You know, you're like, what the?
Or is he just a great athlete? Yeah, no, he did like a perfect like no ramp or whatever, like not ramp,
diving
board.
Yeah,
no diving board, nothing, just straight off the roof.
Yeah,
and then like Bruno's like, oh man,
and everything.
Yeah, and then Bruno's like, oh man, that must have really hurt. He's like, oh no, I didn't really feel anything at all. So they're kind of like having like this sort of manly like battle of like trying to peg each, like take a peg down of each other, kind of,
Yeah, and it was interesting too, like when we're seeing him at different when we first see Cameron, the song "Bad, Bad, Bad, Bad Boy" is playing.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder, like, are they implying that he's just like a bad boy, or is he the villain?
Right? Is he actually bad for real, or is he just like your typical like, yeah, I'm cool and I break the rules, type of thing?
So like every teenage party in a movie or a TV show, it gets broken up by the cops.
Of course, which like never happens in real life.
No,
ever. Like the cops never come to break up a party for any reason. Like,
it's really strange. But anyways,
it's like they have like a thing where they just only know if teenagers are having the party. They're like, okay, we got shut it down.
It's never adults. Anyways,
they have like a secret way of knowing or something like.
But Cameron has his uncle's car, so he says, "Come on, you can," and he gives a ride to Kamala and her two friends, so they go, and in the car ride they like bond over like Bollywood films and stuff. Which I guess Bollywood's probably popular in Pakistan too, as well as India, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. It is.
Which will bring up another thing in a little bit here too, when they're talking about more Bollywood stuff. But they're talking about the 1993 hit Bazigar and DDLJ, whatever that is. So I guess it's a romantic musical, and I guess it has like some kind of love triangle. So people are reading into that, saying that it might be talking about the love triangle between Bruno and Cameron and Kamala, so yeah. So yeah. Anyways, what happens after the party?
They driving home. Bruno keeps like inserting himself into the conversation because from the backseat because he's kind of jealous, and then Kamran, when he leaves and drops them off, he does the whole assert dominance thing by calling Bruno by the wrong name on purpose. Calling him Brian instead of Bruno.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Nakia is like, oh, what's Brian's mad? Why is Brian mad? And he's like, he knows my name's not Brian, and stuff like that. And then they start doing driving lessons, and Bruno's
they go out to lunch at one time too during it. And they're talking about more Bollywood stuff, including talking about Kingo.
Well, that's right. They do mention Kingo from the Eternals.
Yeah. Speaking of Pakistani people, because Kumail Nanjiani is Pakistani, so and he plays Kingo, so which is I was glad they made a reference to his character. So
because they have no idea that he's like, an eternal. Like they just think like Kingo Senior, like they think because it's the same guy, but they think it's like a whole line of actors from one like generational line of actors.
Kumail Nanjiani, who is former guest of our show, Jonah Ray's one of his best friends. So, listen to that episode. We talk about Kumail in it. So
oh, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah.
He was also in an episode of Community, which is awesome.
Yes. And his stand-up is amazing. He's a great guy all around.
Yeah.
But they they have after that they do have there's the Eid festival thing at the mosque, and they Nakia is like basically trying to get they have a scene where they basically break down the little cliques of the mosque. And we do find out a little bit more about the great grandmother from the Illuminati aunties, the Illuminantes. Yeah. Yeah. Which is one of the groups. Then you have the reverts and the what were the other ones?
I hate that term so much.
I know. And
I hate that term.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. I'm sorry. That's a whole tangent, but it's just like, no, you're a convert to a religion.
Oh, I know.
You converted. But like Muslims,
why do they say that?
Okay, so the reason why this was not even like coined by converts. It was coined by Muslims from who I don't even know who started it. But basically, the reason why is because it's a misunderstanding of a quotation that's attributed to Muhammad, which says that a person's born into a state of basically of like purity or sort of neutrality, and then they're then molded by their parents to be whatever religion that they teach them in. So they go, oh, well, that means that since Islam's a true religion, everyone's technically born a Muslim, but then if their parents are Christian or Jewish or whatever, then they teach them that. So if they convert to Islam, but it's stupid. I'm sorry, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
So I get it. So
I hate to use that, but what's that?
So basically, the etymology of it is that they're reverting back to what they were born as, basically, in that idea.
Which is not at all what that saying says.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that
I hated that saying at the time when they were like, "Oh, you were a revert." I'm like, "No, I converted." Like, don't take away what the actual step I took to get to where I am right now. Because by you calling me a revert, what you're essentially saying is I didn't do any work. I didn't do any. You know what I mean?
That's why I like the idea in the Baha'i faith where you declare as opposed to convert. So
yeah.
Anyways, do you want to take a quick break here and we'll talk more about this Eid plot of the show and everything after the break?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
And we are back. Okay, so the Eid festival thing's going on here, and we do find out a little bit more about the great grandmother. Basically, there's all these like stories and like fables and stuff about her, about her being like a dreamer, and she's not the only one. I hope someday you can join us. Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah.
No.
That's good.
But like I think a lot of it has to do with like maybe they're making up these stories about her, and I think that might have to do with the fact that maybe she was some kind of superhero that we didn't know, or like a low key superhero of some sort,
Not
but
low key, but like a low key.
like yeah.
Oh, what if she was a low key though?
Yeah. Low key is like this guy that just doesn't give a shit. He's just kind of like whatever. He's one of the
like
variants. Yeah.
Technically, he is a Loki, but he just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Like I got powers.
He's like, yeah, I'm a Loki, but whatever.
Yeah. He just uses. He just uses his power to like make his Pepsi cold and stuff. He doesn't really.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, yeah, whatever. Or maybe he'll use it to get like the Josta soda.
Yeah.
That, like he'll go back in time to get that. And the Illuminantes, they're all they all have different stories. They brought shame on the community. She had multiple affairs with men. She killed a man, which we find out later, or potentially might actually be true. Not necessarily having affairs, but
yeah, it's like she's doing something that you don't know about.
Or maybe she's older than people think, so it would have the appearance of having quote affairs because your husband dies after you've been with them for 60 years, and you've got another one. You know what I mean?
It might be an ancient Cree or something, or ancient. What are the other? There's the Cree and the
Scrolls.
The Scrolls, yeah. Maybe she's a Skrull. Who knows what she is?
I hope it's not.
But anyways, we got that going on. We also have Nakia trying to win the support of Kamala's dad, because I guess he's the big honcho who you need to win the support of to be able to be elected to the board. So, yeah.
Well, one of those because his best friend is running.
Yeah. So she ends up.
She does the whole guilt. Oh yeah.
She does a guilt trip, like you were saying, saying I'm your other daughter, sort of thing.
Like you wouldn't want to, basically like take that away. Basically like you basically say like, oh you say you're like this, progressive-minded Muslim who believes like in women's rights, and you wouldn't take that away from us, would you? Like total guilt, emotional manipulation. And then he's so confused that he's like he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. So we have that going on. We also during this we have a situation where this kid is taking selfies on top of this like tower and almost kills himself.
The selfie tower. Yeah. We've all seen it,
Oh yeah. It's been there for centuries.
We all have the selfie tower, yeah.
You used to have to paint yourself in the selfie tower, but then eventually you could take pictures with your phone. No wait.
Yeah.
He starts falling, and so Nightlight goes to save him. Nightlight. Miss Marvel.
Earlier, Nakia eventually called her. Oh, what? She thinks she's so cool because she got saved by budget Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
That was a good line. I like that.
I did like it earlier on in the episode too, where she's talking about different powers she has and stuff, and she says something about how she doesn't have the ability to. She doesn't know if she has the ability to look young forever like Ant-Man.
Oh yeah, that's funny
because about Paul Rudd, how he looks basically the same as he did in like Clueless.
Yeah, well, maybe not quite, but he's
pretty much.
He doesn't age very much.
He's the modern day Dick Clark. He doesn't age.
Yeah, totally. We forgot another thing too going on, the interrogation scene of Zoe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention too. Is
okay.
Zoe Zimmer is taken in for interrogation about the situation to the department. What is that? The Department of Defense something.
It's like the damage control.
Damage control.
Like
yeah,
that.
the Department of Damage Control or something like that. Yeah. But anyways,
they seem to change their style though. Because then it used to just literally be cleaning up the messes that the Avengers did, but now it seems like they're going after people.
And that started in No Way Home. And he's like basically playing the good cop, bad cop sort of thing, like he did to Ned in No Way Home. But Ned was smart enough to figure that out, whereas Zoe's just kind of a ditz, so she doesn't really figure it out. or
I
she's
don't know,
just self. I don't know if she's a
that
ditz as much as she's self-obsessed. So
well, oh, that kind of fell for it though too, because he was like, "Oh, I'm the guy in the chair and stuff." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so in Spider-Man's illegal and vigilante activities, you were his main co-conspirator."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'd like to plead
Yeah,
or
that's
strike
true.
that from the record or whatever." I don't know.
Yeah.
But he did eventually figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, they were playing up on the fact that she's like, insta famous or whatever,
Yeah.
So that we had that going on. That's kind of a subplot that is probably going to progress to the next episode.
Mhm.
So anyways, when Nightlight saves the stupid kid, every superhero has to save a stupid kid. I mean, Superman
at some point,
and
you
Superman
have to.
and different.
Yeah.
There's always a stupid
And
kid
by the way,
climbing where they shouldn't be climbing or something.
yeah.
And
again, where was the parents?
Yeah, where were
kid
the parents? That's
or guardians or whoever?
yeah.
Like, oh, some kid's just randomly up there with his phone again, just phone generation.
Yeah,
And by the way, he was wearing the shoes.
Yeah, he
that-
was wearing Nakia's shoes.
So he stole them, or
Yeah, he
found
either
them at
he
least.
either stole those or they're really popular shoes that both of them had, which I don't think.
True. Yeah, because he probably doesn't have the same feet size as Nakia. So
Well, he might because he's like women's shoe size are smaller than men, and he's a littler boy, so he's not
Yeah.
much younger. Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
yeah. So we got that, and then
She almost doesn't save him.
she almost
though,
doesn't
because
save
of
him, and
how-
she actually doesn't. She kind of gets distracted because she sees that woman again.
Yeah, calling out to her, and she
Yeah.
basically just gives him a hard landing essentially on the top of a car.
And so anyways, we got that happening and everything, but anyways, afterwards Kamala's running away and from the situation, and Cameron pulls up in his car and saves her, and she basically reveals to him who she is by taking her helmet off. And then that lady that she was seeing is in the back seat of the car, and Cameron introduces her as his mom. Yeah.
Interesting.
Also earlier though, when her brother and his fiance met them at this place when they were talking, I forgot about this scene where they cover and say that they're old cousins or something. So
it's the cousin through marriage or something like that. Yeah.
So anyways,
They might actually be cousins though.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because what I'm thinking, there's a possibility that this woman is the great grandmother.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to say because she
Yeah.
kind of looks like she could be a villainess, just the way she's got this sort of steely look about her. Like she's very determined, So it's hard to know if she's got good intentions for her or not.
Yeah, and her name in the show is the character's name is Najma. Najma. Najma.
Yeah, I think it's Najma.
Najma. Yeah.
That's I'm not sure if that's Arabic or Urdu. I'm not sure what it means.
I can't remember what it means. I looked it up.
Did you look it up before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me look it up again.
Sure.
Because I was curious when I was watching it, and I looked it up, and then I forgot to remember what it was before we recorded.
Of course, no.
Let's see. In Muslim baby names, it means star.
Oh, interesting.
Also, or precious. Yeah.
What language though? Does it say what language?
It says in Muslim baby names the meaning. That's all it says in this
Oh.
baby name.
Well, that could be Arabic or
yeah,
any, like,
I'm not
name.
sure.
Okay.
Let me
Look
see
it
what it
up.
says.
Maybe.
The meaning of the name. It's an Arabic origin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a Arabic origin is a girl's name. It says so. Yeah.
And you mentioned too about the
And-
trail of stars going back to the train. For
Yeah.
Sana. That's interesting right there. So, but why would her mom just disappear on her though? That's interesting.
Yeah. And
safety.
Najma is also played by a Pakistani actress who is like really big in TV serials over in Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
So she's like a
Cool.
She's basically like a soap opera actress over there. Like,
Okay,
I guess
cool.
she's really famous. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that her name is Nimra Busha.
Nice.
Yeah. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry, folks. I'm a stupid white guy from America.
No.
No.
There's quite a few though that we run into.
Yeah.
On Facebook at least.
Yeah. I do apologize if I'm pronouncing names wrong at all, ever on this show, period. So, no matter what nationality they are. Anyways, so basically that's how we end our episode. There's no credits scene this week like there was last week.
No. Yeah, we didn't get the DOD or whatever, the damage.
So, what do you speculate here? Like, who do you think Najma is?
You see, that's the thing. I don't know. Because she looked kind of like not very nice. So I don't know.
I mean, they did
just
light her like a villain almost. You know what I mean? Like the
yeah. So I don't know if she just
yeah
looks like that just because of like if she's been around for like 1,000 years
yeah, but
or
it's
something.
Like they lit her like that in the car, but like in those visions, you couldn't tell one way or the other.
Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of two of like the bangles because I don't know if like when you wear like a bangle if you even wear it on both arms or you just put it on one arm. So I don't even know if they even come in.
I think it can go either way.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm not even sure, but that could be this show's MacGuffin, like kind of like how Moon Knight, it was all about finding Amit's tomb and that kind of thing. So maybe that's my speculation. Maybe there's like a second bangle and then Najma wants it
or she
for
has
herself,
the other one
or
whatever,
or she wants to give it so that she can pass it down. Go either way, because she didn't look very nice, but it could have just been the seriousness of the situation. If like getting her in the car as fast as they can because she's making too high of a profile for her. Because that could have been the reason why too. Maybe the reason why Aisha left is because she was bringing too much attention to her family. So maybe she left to protect them. And already
in the comics, Cameron is an Inhuman as well.
Okay.
And he and Kamala were like friends from when they were little.
So they kind of
they kind of like grew up together or something. And his parents are friends with her parents in the comics.
Okay. So they kind of switched it up a little bit.
Yeah. He reveals he witnesses her in the comics, turn into Miss Marvel. And he reveals his secret to her, which makes her smitten with him. So she does have a crush on him in the comics as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but he in the comics he also offers her a ride to school, but instead kidnaps her and takes her to his boss, who is an inhuman crime boss named Lineage.
Okay.
Who hopes to recruit Miss Marvel into his gang.
Oh boy.
So he's like a villain, yeah. But Cameron isn't really a villain. He's kind of he go back and forth. And,
okay.
Yes, like sometime later it says he approaches Miss Marvel, apologizing for his action and attempts to reconcile with her, and then they are interrupted by Shang-Chi, who reveals that Cameron had stolen the mystical eyes of Dragon from the Five Weapons Society and was planning on using them to steal Miss Marvel's life force to empower Lineage.
Oh, jeez.
So he was kind of a a dick in that. So
Yeah.
yeah. It'd be cool to
reminds
see
me of-
Shang-Chi somehow feature in this show.
I know, that would be
or
cool.
in future, have them work together somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also did want to mention the fact that Bruno was dressed kind of like Marty McFly.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
I was wondering if that was for any particular reason or just.
It probably just because he's a smart kid and kind of a Michael J. Fox type. It's like
Science,
Yeah.
even though his character wasn't really into science, I never understood the relationship of how he even met Doc.
Marty
in the
was
first
kind
place,
of into
because,
science.
like,
He was helping him with the experiments and stuff.
yeah, but he seems like he was kind of more of like a music guy, skateboard guy. Like,
he was just a
I don't know.
slacker, as Strickland.
Oh,
would say,
okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Strickland.
Yeah. And then there was also this whole scene in the show too, which we didn't talk about, where we realized that the parents fell in love because they both liked Bon Jovi.
Oh yeah,
which is
like
weird.
If
they don't play some Bon Jovi or Bon Jovi shows up in this show, I'm gonna be mad. No, John Bon Jovi.
That'd be pretty cool if he actually showed up in the show. That would be kind of cool. That would be like hilarious, actually, if that would happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we also find out that Aamir, that's Kamala's brother, didn't used to be like a super strict Muslim, but he's gone through like different phases throughout his life.
Yeah, he went through a Hot Topic phase.
A goth phase where he's like, well, I didn't really. It's like you had a choker and we're all black, and
yeah.
So we might see, a little bit of that character too, of why he kind of jumps from one extreme to the other. Maybe there's something up to that as well, like of why he's decided to become like.
I'd like to see something happen to him. I don't want to see his girl leave him or anything, but them have some kind of falling out or something happen and he changes or something. But we've only got 6 episodes, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do these
too
Marvel
much
shows,
about secondary characters. Yeah.
Yeah. So speculations, I'm thinking we're gonna find out just a little bit, I guess, who this woman is, if it's even her, Aisha, or or if it's just someone else entirely.
Could be a Kree or a Skrull or something,
Yeah, something. We're probably gonna get some more power testing going on, like training. Maybe she's gonna train her with the bank or figure out how to use it better.
They could go with the kind of a similar thing to the comics where she's the boss, and instead of Lineage, she's like maybe the MCU version of Lineage. I'm trying to.
Right, it is interesting that he just showed up at school right after this Avenger Con thing happened.
And he looks 35. I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. and plus, too, he says that him and his mom always moved around a lot. So
and then the other thing, too, is like, the mom says, she says that she's been waiting a long time to meet Kamala.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes. I really can't wait till the next episode. But anyways, it's been great talking to you about it. Any other final thoughts?
No.
Well, until next time, folks, be sure to check out all2real2.com. We got all of our links there to everything. Check out our Patreon and our TeePublic to help us out. Spread the word about the show. Tell a friend and tell them to tell a friend. If you like us, that is. Even if you don't, tell an enemy.
Yeah, sure.
Walk up to somebody you don't like and be like, "Hey, listen to this podcast," and
hate listen to it. Yeah.
And basically, be good to each other, folks. There's a lot of crap going on in the world, and it's good to talk about fictional stuff once in a while here. And till next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.